So I got a fun and interesting request to make a Nightlord Traitor Space Marine design that'll be used for a tattoo. And one way I go about starting something like this is to make a few quick gesture studies. Each of these drawings is about 30 seconds to 5 minutes. And at first I'll draw a silhouette and I'll erase at it, draw a little more, and erase until I get a form that I like. And once one is chosen or selected, I bump up the scale and I start going into it and adding more detail and refining it and moving limbs here and there, adding some more lighting and just refining like crazy. What I like to do is start with the whole image, figure, and background, but eventually I start to break off pieces in accordance to how far they sit away from the view or the picture plane. So I'll separate elements that are in the background, the middle ground, and the figure, but sometimes I'll even jump into the figure itself and start separating the legs or arms that might be closer to the viewer and the backpack, which is farther away. And for me, that's really convenient because it helps me adjust things not only geometrically, but also according to light and shadow. So something that's further away from the viewer will have more ambient light in between it, so therefore it might not have as heavy a contrast, or it might even be a little bit blurrier or foggier. And I think it really helps to establish that sense of depth in the image. And as you can see here in the top right corner, I put the original gesture sketch as a little thumbnail, just so I know that while I'm refining certain elements, that there are other things that I should try to maintain. So here at this point, I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with the overall form of the figure, so I'll work some of the background and try to create some kind of scene and a mood, and then I'll start jumping into some detail on a new layer. So I usually like to move from the big shapes to the little shapes. So I start with the figure into the armor panels and into the details. And this Nightlord is fairly blinged out with a lot of stuff. He's got a lot of spikes, he's got a lot of skulls, he's got pieces of flesh hanging off of him from people he presumably murdered. But all those things also have to work in perspective, so it's a little bit of a challenge handling all that. But that's what makes it fun, so I'll keep going around adding spiky bits, skulls, and lightning for this guy until I get to the colorizing phase. But sometimes in the colorizing phase, I notice that certain pieces aren't popping enough or aren't really catching your eye enough, so I'll go back and adjust those and do a little back and forth between the grayscale version, the color version, and the grayscale version until, well, I don't see anything more that needs to be adjusted and the image is complete. At this point in the drawing, I'm just fine-tuning and tweaking little things here and there. A lot of it is bouncing back and forth between refining details, but also making sure the big gestures, such as the background, isn't too dark here, isn't too light there, but also does this bolt gun pop compared to the wing? Does the sword stand out too much? Does the bottom right corner have too much lighting? Is the lightning too strong? Is the color too strong? Here I isolate the bolt gun and try to refine its geometry a little bit more so that it works in perspective. It's a kind of funny angle that it's at, so it was a little bit of a challenge to draw it. And at this point, we're reaching the home stretch until we get to the final image. And here it is. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below, share with your friends, and death to the false emperor, I guess.